Kevin Hart walked into a luxury car dealership, but instead of being welcomed, he was humiliated. What happened next shocked everyone. Stay with us till the end and share this video to stand up for equal treatment, no matter who you are. Kevin Hart was lounging on his couch, the soft leather cradling him as his phone buzzed nonstop, calls, messages, reminders. Life didn't slow down, not even for a second. To the world, he was the king of comedy, the guy who could spin pain into punchlines. But behind that success was a man who hadn't taken a real break in years. Film shoots, stand-up tours, interviews, red carpets, his schedule was so packed that the idea of relaxing almost felt strange. And in that rare quiet moment, something hit him. He needed to celebrate himself, not with a party, not for the cameras, just something for him. A reward. A symbol of everything he'd worked for. Then it clicked, a car. But not just any car, the car. The kind he used to dream about as a broke kid in Philly. Back then, luxury cars were just glossy photos in a corner store magazine, fantasies behind plastic wrappers. Now, he could finally own one. The next morning, he got up early, dressed in a simple black hoodie, jeans, and sneakers, nothing flashy, just Kevin. His assistant had told him about a dealership in Beverly Hills known for its ultra-high-end collection. That's where he was headed. When he arrived, it felt like stepping into another world. Chrome, glass, and marble, the place shimmered in the sun like a jewel box. Inside, it smelled like money. Cars stood on display like fine art, every curve, every detail was perfection. He moved toward a fiery red sports car, the kind that made your heart beat faster just looking at it. As he reached out to touch it, a voice cut through the air. "Can I help you?" Kevin turned. A young man in a navy suit stood there, polite on the surface, but with that unmistakable look, the kind that sizes you up before you even speak. Kevin smiled. "Just admiring." "What's the story on this one?" The guy gave a half smirk. "Well, this car's for someone who knows what they want. It's not really for browsing." Kevin laughed, brushing it off. "Good thing I'm not just browsing. Let's talk specs." But the vibe didn't change. The salesman looked him up and down, the hoodie, the sneakers, and his smile turned stiff. "Just so you know, these aren't entry-level. Prices start mid-six figures. We want to make sure our buyers understand what they're investing in." Kevin felt the sting, not because he couldn't afford it, but because of what wasn't being said. And then, a second voice chimed in. "He's right, you know." Another man in a gray suit, clearly a customer, shot Kevin a smug look. "These cars aren't for everyone. Maybe stick to your usual set of wheels." Kevin's jaw tightened. He'd heard comments like that before, the subtle digs, the sideways glances, the judgment behind fake smiles. This wasn't new. It was just louder here, dressed up in designer suits and polished marble. His mind flashed back to being a kid, shopkeepers watching him too closely, assuming he was there to steal, not to shop. Those memories never really left him. And now, here they were again, standing right in front of him, wearing cologne and cufflinks. He took a slow breath. Snapping back wouldn't change anything, it would only play into their assumptions. So he stepped away from the car, nodded once, and said, "Thanks for the info. I'll think about it." The salesman gave a satisfied little nod, like he'd just done his job and cleared the showroom of a problem. "Of course. Let us know if you need anything else." Kevin walked out without looking back, his head high. But inside, his stomach churned. Anger. Frustration. Sadness. Not because they doubted his money, but because they didn't see him. They saw a hoodie, a skin color, a stereotype. Not a man who built an empire from nothing. In the car, his hands gripped the steering wheel tighter than usual. He wasn't going to let this define him. If anything, it lit a fire. But the question burned in his mind, how do you turn something so ugly into something bigger? That night, Kevin sat at his kitchen island, a cold cup of coffee untouched beside him. He stared into space, the memory of that smug tone playing on repeat. It wasn't about a car. It was about being dismissed. About being made to feel like he didn't belong. He tapped his fingers on the marble, the rhythm echoing his thoughts. Then the front door opened. "You've been brooding all day," Marcus said, walking in with a bag of takeout. "Thought you were pumped to check out that car place." Kevin let out a sharp breath, part laugh, part frustration. "I was, until they treated me like I was wasting their time. Like I didn't belong there." Man, it was next-level condescension. Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Wait, they didn't know who you were?" "That's the thing," Kevin said, leaning forward. "They didn't. And I'm actually glad. 'Cause now I know how they really treat people. It wasn't about me being Kevin Hart. It was about me being just a black guy in their showroom." Marcus's face darkened. "That's some real trash. But honestly, I'm not surprised. Places like that, they're built for a certain crowd. And it ain't us." Kevin nodded. "And that's the problem. It's not just them. It's everywhere. Every single day, people are judged like that, disrespected, and they don't get to walk away and laugh it off like I'm supposed to." They sat in silence, the truth of it hanging heavy in the air. Then Marcus asked, "So, what are you gonna do about it?" Kevin looked up, eyes sharper now. Something had shifted. "I'm not letting this slide. But I'm not just calling them out. I want people to see it. See what really happens when the cameras aren't rolling." Marcus leaned back, intrigued. "All right. I'm listening." Kevin smiled, not the usual grin. This one had purpose behind it. A social experiment. "I'll go back. Hidden cameras. I want to capture everything, how they treat me, how they talk, how different it is depending on who walks through that door." Marcus broke into a grin. "That's bold. You sure you want that kind of heat?" "Man," Kevin said, standing up, "I was born ready." That evening, his team gathered in his home office. Laptops open. Notebooks ready. But this wasn't just about strategy, it was about something real. Something that mattered. Tasha, his longtime producer, leaned forward. "Let me get this straight," she said, tapping her pen. "You want to walk back in there, cameras rolling, record how they treat you, and then what? Post it?" "Exactly," Kevin nodded. "But not for me. This isn't some gotcha moment. This is about what happens every day to people without my platform. I want the world to see it with their own eyes." Tasha paused, then slowly nodded. "All right. Hidden cams, mics, we'll plan this down to the detail. And you'll have to stay in character. No slipping up and letting them realize who you are." Kevin smirked. "Please. I've played harder roles than this." "Harder than this?" "Please." Planning went deep into the night. Every detail mattered, the camera angles, the mic placement, the exact questions Kevin would ask to trigger the kind of subtle, revealing responses that couldn't be explained away. It wasn't just about catching bias, it was about making it undeniable. At one point, Marcus threw out an idea. "What if you go in twice? First time casual, just like before. Then go back again, full on Kevin Hart. Flashy suit, luxury watch, the whole entourage. Let them feel the difference when they know exactly who they're talking to." Kevin leaned back, smiling at the thought. "I like it. That contrast? That's the message. But let's make sure that first visit is airtight, that's the one that really counts." As the meeting wound down, the room buzzed with energy. This wasn't a prank. This was a mission. A mirror held up to the world. And after everyone left, Kevin sat alone, scrolling through the thousands of comments pouring in on his latest post, a raw video where he briefly opened up about what had happened at the dealership. It had gone viral. Story after story filled the screen. People who had been judged, dismissed, insulted, One comment stopped him cold. It's not about the cars. It's about being seen as less than. We all deserve respect, no matter what we look like. Kevin read it twice. Then again. That was it. That was everything. This wasn't just about him anymore, it was for everyone who'd ever been made to feel invisible. He closed his laptop, a quiet fire burning in his chest. The plan was in motion. Tomorrow wasn't just a visit, it was a reckoning. The morning of the return came clear and bright. Sunlight poured over the California hills as Kevin lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The plan played on repeat in his mind. This wasn't about revenge. It was about vindication. Not just for him, but for the thousands of people who'd shared their stories. For the ones who never had the chance to. There was a nervous energy in the air, the kind you feel before a big moment. His body was calm, but his mind was racing. He got up. Simple clothes. Same black hoodie. Same jeans. Nothing that screamed celebrity. Just Kevin, like any other guy walking in off the street. That was the point. Downstairs, Marcus and Tasha were already waiting. Marcus looked up from his phone and grinned. You ready for this? Kevin gave a nod. Ready as I'll ever be. Let's go. The drive to Beverly Hills was quiet. No jokes. No music. Just focus. Tasha and Marcus rode with him. Another vehicle followed, carrying the crew and equipment, hidden cameras, wireless mics, every tool they needed to capture the truth without tipping anyone off. Marcus, usually the one cracking jokes, stayed locked in on the setup list. From the back seat, Tasha's voice broke the silence. Remember, no matter what they say, keep it cool. We need them to be real. Just like last time. Kevin nodded. Don't worry. I know this game better than they do. As they neared the showroom, Kevin's fingers gripped the steering wheel tighter. There it was, the same glass and steel building, glinting in the morning light. Cold. Pristine. Just like before. He pulled into the lot, took a deep breath, and turned off the engine. You ready, Hart? Marcus asked, his eyes locking with Kevin's in the rearview mirror. Kevin smiled. More than ready. He stepped out, Marcus and Tasha hanging back just far enough to stay unnoticed. His heart pounded, the weight of the moment pressing on his chest. But it wasn't fear. It was clarity. The doors slid open, cool air rushing out to meet him. The place looked exactly the same, cars gleaming under the lights, marble floors like mirrors, a showroom built to impress and intimidate. But this time, Kevin wasn't walking in alone. His team was watching. The cameras were rolling. And the world was about to see what happens when no one's supposed to be watching. Kevin stepped into the showroom again, same red sports car, same marble floors, same dismissive energy. But this time, he wasn't walking in blind. He knew exactly what to expect. From a distance, Marcus and Tasha watched, hidden just out of sight, cameras rolling. Everything was in place. Kevin approached the car that had caught his eye last time, the sleek red beauty that had once represented a dream. Nearby stood the same young salesman, scrolling through his tablet. Familiar face. Familiar attitude. As Kevin got closer, the salesman looked up. That flicker of skepticism returned instantly. He didn't need to say it, Kevin could see it in his eyes. That quiet judgment. The mental math of who doesn't belong here. Back again, the salesman said, tone polite but hollow. Can I help you with something? Kevin kept his cool, smiling like nothing was wrong. Yeah, actually. I'm interested in this car. Thought I'd get some more info. The salesman hesitated, clearly trying to place him. Then he launched into his pitch, if you could call it that. This one starts at $250,000, he said, voice flat. It's not exactly a standard purchase. Are you familiar with what's involved in buying a vehicle like this? Kevin stayed calm. I think I can manage. Just wanted to hear more about the features. Maybe even take it for a spin? Another pause. Then the shift, that cold, condescending tone sliding into place like a mask. Test drives are usually reserved for serious buyers. We typically require a deposit or pre-approval. I'm sure you understand. Kevin glanced briefly toward the hidden cameras, then back at the salesman. I get it. But I'm serious. I'd really like to learn more about the car. Before the salesman could respond, a new voice cut in. From the side, an older man in a tailored gray suit stepped into the conversation, uninvited. He didn't look at Kevin like a person. He looked at him like a problem. Look, kid, he said with a smirk, these cars aren't for everyone. Maybe stick to something a little more practical. Leave the sports cars to those of us who can really appreciate them. Kevin's jaw clenched. That quiet rage built in his chest. But still, he said nothing. The cameras were capturing it all. The salesman, emboldened by the customer's words, doubled down. He's right. These cars aren't really for casual buyers. It's a big investment. Maybe come back when you're ready to make a serious commitment. Kevin stood there for a moment, letting the words settle. The old anger stirred, the kind that comes from a lifetime of being underestimated. But then his mother's voice echoed in his head. You're not proving your worth to them. You're proving that we are worthy of respect. He nodded slowly. Calm. Controlled. Got it. Thanks for your time. And with that, he turned and walked out. His heart pounded. His chest was tight. But he knew they had exactly what they needed. Outside, Marcus and Tasha were waiting. Marcus stepped forward, clapped a hand on his shoulder. You good? Kevin exhaled. Yeah. We got it, right? Tasha nodded, her face serious. Every word. Every look. We've got everything. Kevin glanced back at the pristine glass showroom, a temple to status and exclusion. Then he looked at his team. This is just the beginning, he said. Now, we show the world. They drove off in silence. The kind of silence that comes after something real. Something heavy. Something that matters. This wasn't just about Kevin anymore. It was about everyone who had ever been judged. Overlooked. Disrespected. And now, they had proof. Kevin knew the footage would spark something, discomfort, outrage, conversation. And that was the point. This wasn't about making people feel good. It was about making them see. He looked at Marcus, a small smirk forming. You know what's next, right? Marcus grinned. Oh, I know. Now we go back. And this time, we do it big. Kevin nodded, fire in his eyes. Exactly. We're not done yet. Every smirk. Every dismissive word. They had it all on camera. Now it was time for the second visit, and Kevin Hart was done playing nice. This time, he wasn't here to blend in. He was here to make a statement. Early that afternoon, Kevin pulled up to the same luxury showroom, but everything had changed. No hoodie. No sneakers. Today, he stepped out of a black Range Rover wearing a tailored navy suit, crisp white shirt, and a watch that gleamed like a spotlight under the sun. His entourage followed, Marcus, Tasha, and the crew. There were no more hidden glances. No more guessing who he was. Today, Kevin wanted to be seen. Marcus gave him a nod as they approached the entrance. You've got this. Don't let them make you forget who you are. Kevin smirked. Trust me, this is gonna be fun. Tasha clipped a small mic to his jacket. You're live, she said calmly. This wasn't just a return, it was a live broadcast. The world would watch every second. As Kevin stepped inside, everything shifted. Same cool air. Same polished marble floors. But now, the energy was completely different. Where last time he was ignored, now he was seen. Where there were glances, now there were greetings. The same young salesman from before looked up, and this time, his eyes widened. Kevin watched recognition flash across his face like panic. The man quickly straightened his tie and crossed the floor with a new tone of voice. "Good afternoon, sir. Welcome back. How can I assist you today?" Kevin gave a calm, knowing smile. But it wasn't friendly. It was controlled. Sharp. Purposeful. "Oh, I think you know why I'm here. I'd like to take a look at your cars, maybe even test drive one." "Of course, Mr. Hart," the salesman replied, his voice now overly cheerful. "We'd be honored. Let me show you what we have available today." Kevin followed him, Marcus and Tasha close behind. Cameras were rolling. Not just hidden now, visible. Purposeful. The world was watching. And you could feel the pressure. The salesman's smile was too wide. His gestures too polished. Gone was the condescension. In its place, desperation to please. Kevin asked tough questions, challenged him on features, specs, pricing. And the salesman answered them all, with respect, with enthusiasm, with the kind of attention that came only after he realized who Kevin Hart was. Then Kevin saw him. The older man in the gray suit. The one who told him to stick to something more practical. Their eyes met. Recognition. Regret. Kevin held the gaze for just a second, and then turned away. Dismissed him. Just like he had been dismissed. Finally, the salesman brought Kevin back to that car, the red sports car that started it all. "This is one of our finest models, sir," he said, practically sweating enthusiasm. "If you're interested, we can arrange a test drive right away." Kevin ran his hand over the hood. Just like before. Only this time, there was no doubt. No hesitation. No question of whether he belonged. Then he turned to the salesman, eyes locked. His voice was calm, but sharp enough to cut glass. "You know, last time I was here, I asked about this car. And you told me it wasn't for people like me. Said I wasn't serious enough to even look at it. Remember that?" The salesman froze. His face went pale. I think there's been a misunderstanding." Kevin didn't flinch. "No misunderstanding. You judged me. Because I wasn't in a suit. Because I didn't look like I belonged. But guess what?" He paused, glancing around the showroom. "I do belong. And so does anyone else with the money, no matter what they look like, where they come from, or what they're wearing." The room went silent. All eyes were on Kevin. Every word he spoke echoed louder than any engine in the building. Kevin Hart walked into a high-end car dealership one afternoon, dressed simply, hoodie, jeans, sneakers. No entourage. No flash. Just a man looking to treat himself to a dream he'd had since he was a kid. But the moment he stepped through the glass doors, he felt it, the shift in energy. The way the staff barely acknowledged him. The looks. The silence. When he finally asked about a particular sports car, the response was cold, almost rehearsed. "This one isn't really for people like you." They didn't recognize him. And that wasn't the issue. The issue was why they assumed he didn't belong there in the first place. Kevin didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He just quietly walked out, but he walked out with a plan. A week later, he came back. Same dealership. Same showroom. But this time, everything was different. He arrived in a sleek black Range Rover, dressed in a flawless navy blue suit, luxury watch gleaming under the California sun. His team followed close behind, Marcus, Tasha, and a small crew with cameras rolling. Some visible, others hidden. And just like that, the energy inside the dealership shifted again, but in the opposite direction. The same salesman who had brushed him off before now rushed over with a smile too wide to be sincere. His voice had changed too. "Mr. Hart, welcome back. How can we assist you today?" Suddenly, Kevin was being offered test drives, personalized tours, and all the attention money could buy. He let it all play out. Then, in the center of the pristine showroom, surrounded by hidden cameras and a live audience watching in real time, Kevin looked the salesman in the eye and calmly said, "Last time I was here, I asked about this exact car. And I was told it wasn't for people like me. But this isn't just about me. It's about every person who's ever been judged for how they look or where they come from. We all deserve respect." The room fell silent. And the internet? It exploded. The video went viral. Within hours, millions of people were watching and sharing. Thousands began posting their own stories, moments where they'd been dismissed, disrespected, or overlooked because of their appearance. The hashtag #RespectEveryone started trending across the country. A few days later, Kevin's phone rang. It was the general manager of the dealership. The man apologized for the way Kevin had been treated and, in an effort to smooth things over, offered him a free car. Kevin's response was simple. "I don't want a car. I want you to donate that money to something that matters." And they did. But Kevin didn't stop there. He turned that donation into a foundation for something much bigger, the Auto Dream School. A place where kids from underprivileged communities could learn the skills to build real careers in the car industry. Mechanics, engineering, auto design, driving, business. He found a space, built a team, and brought the idea to life. At the school's grand opening, standing in front of students, parents, and supporters, Kevin said, "We all belong. We all have the right to dream. And this school is proof of that." Later that day, a young girl walked up to him, nervous, excited, and whispered, "I want to be a car designer someday. And this feels like a dream." Kevin smiled and said, "Then you're going to be the best damn car designer out there." What started with judgment became justice. What began as humiliation turned into hope. Kevin didn't just expose discrimination, he transformed it into opportunity. And he's just getting started.